Let's turn now to Matthew Alexander, a former U.S. Air Force interrogator and author of How to Break a Terrorist. Mr. Alexander is using that pseudonym for security reasons, and thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me, David.
Here we are again revisiting the effectiveness of torture because of former Bush administration officials who say that not using it weakens our nation's security. Is torture effective, and if not, why not?
Well, torture is ineffective for a lot of reasons, and just the one that I want to point out is when you take a long-term view of interrogations, Al-Qaeda's #1 recruiting tool has been the fact that we have a policy of torture and abuse that resulted in Abu Ghraib and the other abuses that occurred at Guantanamo Bay. I heard time and time again at the prison where I was in Iraq, foreign fighters state that the reason they had come there to fight was because of our policy of torture and abuse. So Al-Qaeda uses that as a very effective recruiting tool, and it has resulted literally in hundreds, if not thousands, of American casualties in Iraq.
What about the actual act, though, of trying to squeeze information out of somebody in front of you?
You know, I've never seen any type of coercive methods work. In fact, in my experience, what I saw was that detainees would harden the resolve when faced with that because we were just reaffirming the idea they had in their mind that we weren't living up to American principles. And I'd like to put this in the words of one Al-Qaeda leader who decided to cooperate, and he told me, he said, when you treated me with respect, when you treated my religion with respect, I decided that everything Al-Qaeda told me about Americans was wrong. And so I knew that I could cooperate with you and I could work with you.
The other argument being made by former Bush officials is that merely releasing these memos, putting them in the public domain, either helps the terrorists or harms the work of future interrogators or both. How do you assess that?
No, it's just the opposite, actually. Al-Qaeda members are more likely to cooperate when they see American interrogators abiding by American principles. When they see that we torture people and abuse them and use cruelty as a method of interrogation, it hardens their resolve, it reaffirms in their minds the reasons that they picked up arms against us. And so it's self-defeating.
There is also, of course, the charge that what we're left with once torture is no longer an option is somehow insufficient, that there's not enough time to sort of show the respect that may work. In a situation where you're looking for immediate information, based on your experience, what is the proper approach?
Yeah, let me say, I've lived through the ticking time bomb scenario on numerous occasions in Iraq. The people that we were hunting, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, the leader of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, and his henchmen who were behind the suicide bombings, everyone that we captured had information that could have saved lives if we could have gotten information quicker. But we knew that the quickest way to get information was through relationship building, sometimes deception, but mostly through using our intellect. And that's what we used. We decided to be smarter, not harsher.
You were on this program about a month before Barack Obama became president, and you made some recommendations for his administration regarding torture. What do you think the president has achieved on this subject, and what do you think is still lacking?
Well, the first thing was just the banning of torture across all agencies is a tremendous help to interrogators in the field because it lets Al-Qaeda know that we're not going to torture them, and so that we are people that they can negotiate with and cooperate with if they decide to do so. The second part, it remains to be seen, because a special task force that's evaluating interrogation policy has 180 days to come back with recommendations, and there's certainly ways that we can improve upon the Army Field Manual of Interrogations.
Former U.S. Air Force interrogator using the pseudonym Matthew Alexander, we thank you for your service, and also we thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.